Isaiah 64 says, we are all like an unclean thing, and all our righteousness are like filthy rags. Filthy. So what, you go to church? Filthy. We are filthy. Whenever my mind's thinking good, there's a side that is evil. That's why there are those who seem righteous, we find they're deceitful. I gotta be 100, don't wanna lie to the people. Father, we're feeble, and we really need. When I fall to my lowest, I cry like a beagle, but God can lift me to fly high like the eagle. I preach him to all my amigos, but still there's the fight with my flesh and my mind like I'm Smeagol's. Father, I believe you. Some men act like they are qualified to be you. Second coming, they'll be horrified to see you. Try but you to lie and glorify the Hebrew. Some don't wanna hear that on the record. Entertain me, don't wanna hear another lecture. My conscience don't wanna deal with the pressure. I'm just only giving what I feel will really bless ya. No, I don't mind sharing my testimony. Nah, but when I do, I hope you learn some lessons, homie. But the gospel is better. The books of the prophets, apostles wrote letters. My God is acknowledged in all my endeavors. I found a great pearl and sold all of my treasures. To purchase the field that I found it in. Built a fence, plant my flag in the ground, and then practice the ways of the Christ who I'm following. Want the wise reputation of Solomon. Whenever my mind's thinking good, there's a side that is evil. That's why there are those who seem righteous, we find they're deceitful. I gotta be 100, don't wanna lie to the people. Father, we're feeble, and we really need. There's no detergent to clean up the stains, I'm so filthy. I did a little good, but I'm guilty. In ancient times, the Levites would've killed me. The grace that came through the Christ now forgives me. I pledge my allegiance is to the Ben Yosef Yeshua. On this cross they wrote down the king of the Jews. The new covenant is made with Israel and Judah. Jeremiah 31 and Hebrews chapter 4. You should explore. It tells you they're plainly man who it is for, which some who read Bible do choose to ignore. That will not work anymore. We're more educated than ever before. Romans 11 was sent to the brethren, so we come together and strengthen the core. Too many false prophets are slick and deceptive. They're trying to make profit, and so they just get more aggressive. We need the Holy Spirit and more study to get real perspective. So when the wolves come around dressed like the sheep, we will be more perceptive. I don't just stand on my own too, so what you grown? It's the Father who holds you. Once he sees the kind of clay that he's working with, you can't control how the potter will mold you. The saints have been chosen to spread the good news, so we told you. Man, this is our job, don't know if you'll repent, but we told you. Whenever my mind's thinking good, there's a side that is evil. That's why there are those who seem righteous, we find they're deceitful. I gotta be 100, don't wanna lie to the people. Father, we're feeble, and we really need you. Whenever my mind's thinking good, there's a side that is evil. That's why there are those who seem righteous, we find they're deceitful. I gotta be 100, don't wanna lie to the people. Father, we're feeble, and we really need you.
Yeah, good evening. Yo, salute to y'all, man. Y'all bless. What's good with it? Hope everyone is in good spirits. Shabbat shalom to all my Sabbath observant people. If you're not a Sabbath observer, but you're a believer in the Christ, you are welcome here. Shalom and blessings to you as well. My name is Brother Zaydok in Israel. Welcome to another Friday night in the Bible Dojo. Tonight I got a teaching and presentation prepared for you. So I'm hoping that if any of you are note takers, that you got your notepad ready on your phone, or you got your pencil and your paper, however you do it. I'm hoping to put something on the table tonight that will be a glimpse into the history of the Hebrew people. This is something that my brethren and I dealt with last Shabbat, and I was so encouraged just by the conversation it created among us that I said, you know what? I'm going to take this next week and I'm going to share it with the public. So you'll get an indication of some of the things that I don't actually, I mean, I could teach something similar, but there's a lot of teaching that happens off of this platform. We don't stream it through Clubhouse. We don't stream it here on YouTube. We don't stream it through Facebook or Twitter Spaces or anything like that. There's a lot, the majority of the very extensive informational things happens among me and those who I call brother and sister, to the point that we are together almost every Sabbath, building for hours. I'm telling y'all, one time we built so hard, we've already had a couple of 7 and 8 hour builds on the Sabbath. So if you somebody who don't mind hearing the word and you like talking with and or hearing a lot of other opinions by believers, then you'll hit me up. Y'all see the ticker there on the screen. My email address is there. If you think you ever want to come and deal with us on the Sabbath, we usually get together every Shabbat through an invite only link on Zoom, and it goes out every Saturday morning. We usually get started at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific time, but the time is about to set back. So now it's about to move back to noon within the next week or two, possibly. Whenever the time goes back, that following Sabbath, we're going to go ahead and we're going to make our start time at 12, because we're going to, quote unquote, lose an hour of daylight on the clocks. And hey, and I want to say this for those of y'all who watch me and y'all like, yo, excuse me, yo, why bro looks so pink? Because I didn't move my studio. I'm in a different part of the house now. I had to clear out my old spot to, do some stuff for the family with that room. And so now I've been relegated to a little back corner, and the lighting and stuff in here isn't like my last place. And so it just got me to me, and I got on red tonight, so it got me just looking pink. I'm looking like Donald Trump out here with the skin tone. But hey, bless y'all, man. So welcome. It's your brother Zaydok Ben Israel, aka the God Hop MC, hashtag just the best of nobody special. They call me Young Chimney because I'm built for that smoke. Young hookah for heretics in the building. Welcome to the Bible Dojo. The doors are open, so come on in, take your shoes off, check your sock game, make sure you're on point, and let's get our warm-up katas on, because it's about to get biblical and a little extra biblical. So let's go over here and see who we got. But before I do that, I got my bro here with me tonight, my bro Haven in the building. Good evening, sir. Now, how did that man turn sideways? Haven, how you turn sideways like that, bro? Yo, tell me. That man said, I thought it was the Esau filter. Wow. He said, I thought that was the Esau filter. Okay, my bro Haven gonna have to come back in. But let me see who we got over here tonight tapping in. Good evening and salute to Clifford Possible. Shalom. My bro Hashem, was good with you, King. Ernest Higgs, salute to you. Sister Maria, welcome, Queen. How are you? Sister V Love, shalom. Salute, champion, was good with Octal Mead. Vinny Davis, welcome as always. Deacon Stephen, salute to you. See young Ashton in the building. Good evening, Ock. Just Reese, welcome, welcome. So hey, y'all go ahead and share this out on the various platforms. Got my bro Haven up in here. There you go. What's good, Haven?
Having them technical difficulties.
It's all
If messing with them Esau buttons, and that's what got me all twisted up. Just technical difficulties. Hit one button and there it went. But yeah, man, you know what it is. I'm just always humbled to come in here and try to help and serve. So
it's greatly appreciated and needed, bro. I really appreciate your time. Hey, and salute to those of you who are over here on the Clubhouse. I see we got a few of y'all. Salute to my bro Service, Jackie, Haza, S-Rock. It says wife, so that's somebody's wife. Salute to you, Queen. Brother Marcus, Mark Dewinski was good. Yehuda, Ema Kathy, I see a few of you over there. Shabbat shalom to all of you. So let's go ahead and get into what it is that I want to present tonight. Oh, look at him. If a man ain't never hit a kazoo note and then hit the oldest Melly Mel sounding raps in the history of the 90s, It's my brother, Mr. Blacktastic, Mr. Melly Mel sounding MC himself. What's good with you? Hey, Yeshaya. Hey, bro, I meant to call you yesterday. I see you called me sometime earlier this week and I missed it, bro. So I apologize for that. I didn't want you to think I was ignoring you, get all on my grass about it. Salute to Gary. Was good with it, checking in from the West Coast. My life totally welcome. Willie Kenchon Jr. One thing for certain, two for sure. And Bazooka the Disciple in the building was good with it. And I appreciate what you just did there, Gary. So since you put the lead out there, let me follow it up. If any of you have the Ruach come upon you this evening, like my brother Gary just did, he chose to financially support. He just left a little donation right there inside of the super chat. Y'all could go ahead and do that. Just look at the ticker there on the screen and give you the few ways. Some people like to do Cash App, PayPal. If you choose to do so, it's all right there. For those listening in through the clubhouse, all you got to do is touch my PTR and it actually takes you to my bio and all the pertinent information is there if you feel so led. Azza, salute. What's good with you? Yeah, I see you over there. And welcome over here, Jackie. I see you. Most High bless you, Queen. So let's get into this. Oh, Ez is over here too. Y'all double dipping. That's what's up. I appreciate it. So, hey, y'all. For those of you on Clubhouse, if y'all don't mind, go ahead and share this out. Get us a couple shares, and who knows, somebody might come in here and actually be a little edified. So, brethren, I want to take a look at the history of the children of Israel in their captivities. As I've done some studying over the years, I believe I come to find that the nation of Israel and the captivities they were in many ways are damn near identical and similar to what it is that we exclaim captivity to be right now in our day and time. And for some people, you could lose sight of what captivity may have meant for the forefathers and mothers, because for those of us, at least here in the Americas, some of the brethren who might be listening in from the UK, if they tapping in, many of us come from people who were put on ships and taken far away from the homeland. And we know that here in the American South, especially, the chattel narrative of how they dealt with our parents and had us as a people as free labor. By the time they let the slaves go, you had hundreds of thousands turned into 4 or 5 million within a century, brethren, within a century. So, and that doesn't even include what happened in the Caribbean, because we know many of the brethren went into the Caribbean before they were ever brought to the American continent. But so if you look at today, if you consider in your mind, but some of y'all might believe all, I don't, but some people believe all black folk on this side of the world are the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I believe I don't believe that's provable at any extensive rate. But whatever you think, everyone is Israelites or some were. Brethren, look at our condition here in the United States today. Look at our brethren in the UK. Look at our brethren in the Caribbean islands. Look at many of our brethren in the South, on the South American continent. And when you look at how many of us get to live today, you still reference that as the captivity, even though you got 3, 4, 50-inch TVs in your house, even though some of you got 401k, some of y'all took y'all Joe Biden money and invested in Bitcoin and made you a couple pieces of change before that stuff started to fall apart and you took your money out. Some of you got investments in stocks. Some of you have started businesses from scratch. Y'all in real estate and all that. Some of y'all got big bread. And if you got big bread and you're willing to let go of some of it, hit me up, because me and some brethren trying to do some things. Maybe you can communicate with us and you can help us acquire some things or two. The scriptures say you have not because you ask not. Ain't that right? But look at it. Many of you go anywhere you want to go. I got people who like Israel. They like, yeah, man, I just came back from Jerusalem. I wanted to go visit the land. Man, I just went on a cruise all throughout Europe. You all throughout Europe with your captive self, huh? You captive, just get on the damn boat a plane when you want and go anywhere you want. Yeah, I was in China. Man, I didn't know slaves could just decide to get on boats and go to China. Now, as I say that, I'm not saying that our people aren't in captivity, but the condition of it for many of us isn't even like anything some of our forefathers and mothers experienced here just 2-3 generations behind us. Let's just be honest about it. I ain't never looked at no little 11, 12-year-old white boy and felt like I shouldn't be looking him in his eye. And he could say, "What you looking at, boy?" And I kind of look away because I don't want to offend this young white boy because I don't want to be lynched or something. Man, I tell somebody, damn kid, you better go get your father or something, you little deviant. Get out of here, little kid. I'm gonna say anything to him I say to a little bad kid in my neighborhood. Some of our mothers and fathers, some 2 generations ago, some of our grandfathers, men in their 60s and 70s, had to think twice if they even spoke too much sideways to a teenage white male or female. So just be honest that your conditions, what you refer to as captivity, condition-wise, may not be exactly the same. But you know what the captivity really is about? Captivity don't mean you can't get money. Captivity don't mean you can't create generational wealth. I know some people try to make it seem like it do. Captivity means you are not a nation sovereign able to practice living under the laws of the Most High in a society that is totally ran by his law, in a society where the standard for man, woman, and child is the mitzvah of Yahuwah Elohim. And when you're in a captivity, you got to live primarily by their culture and customs. You're going to speak primarily their languages. You're going to start to learn to hold dear the things that these people love. Not that you may not have $100,000 in the bank. And I'm going to show you today that in Egypt and even in Babylon, I don't have as much information on what happened to all the 10 tribes in the Assyrian captivity. Some people might have some information that's just not in my notes yet. And if you got them, send them to me. But Babylon and Egypt, I'm telling you that in many cases, their captivity and oppression look like what many of us would call oppression today. Many of them weren't even in a situation that was like chattel in the American South. Now, me and my brethren dealt with this a week ago, y'all, and I just really like where the convo went. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna share some things with y'all, tonight, me and my bro Haven. And hopefully these things will cause you to jump down some more rabbit holes or at least open up some information with a nuance from Zaydok that may not be some ways you have looked at the exact same information. So with that being the case, Ayo Ak Haven, we're going to go ahead and start this off, Ak, in Isaiah chapter 1. Isaiah 1, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen as well. Just let me get my Bible app up here. Okay. There we go. Okay. So, Yeshaya chapter 1. And when we get there, brethren, we're going to actually start reading at verse 1. Oh, no, you ain't got to read all of that because we know the days he prophesied in. Go ahead and start at 2.
Hear, O heavens, and give ear, O earth, for Yah has spoken. I have nourished and brought up children, and they have rebelled against me. The ox knoweth his owner, and the ass his master's crib. But Israel doth not know, my people doth not consider. Ah, sinful nation, a people laden with iniquity, a seed of evildoers, children that are corrupters. They have forsaken Yah, they have provoked the Holy One of Israel unto anger. They are gone away backward.
So the people had walked backwards from the covenant. And the reason we found ourselves in captivity is because of what we had become without outside influence. Among ourselves, The influence of the outside was that we lusted to be like other nations when we saw how they did things, but they never came in and forced us to be that way. We chose to adopt their ways, and in so doing, we started to see the remnants of oppression and evil within our own people. But look at what Yahuwah says. He says, I have brought up this people, and they rebelled against me. Now check this out. An ox knows who his owner is, and even a damn donkey know how to get to where his master's house is. But this nation of our people doth not consider. Don't consider what? Let's go over to Matthew. Excuse me. Let's go to the book of Matthew, chapter 6. Let's go to Matthew, chapter 6. Yahuwah said, they don't consider the way that my hands operate. They don't really consider that. As a matter of fact, let's just show this right quick. Oh, sorry about that. Nope. Go back there. Okay. I want to hold on. Let me before we go to the text I just said, let's go here right quick. Go over to chapter 5, good brother. Chapter 5 of Isaiah. Go over to chapter 5, and this is when Yahuwah talks about how he's going to start to hit the land with famine, and he's doing this because they started to oppress, and they started to try to monopolize and rule over one another. And he said the fields ain't going to bring forth the blessing like it should normally work. Now check this out, verse 12.
And the harp, and the viol, and the tabret, and pipe, and wine are in their feasts. But they regard not the work of Yah, neither consider the operation of his hands. Therefore my people are gone into captivity, because they have no knowledge, and their honorable men are famished, and their multitude dried up with thirst.
So why are the people gone into captivity? Because they have no knowledge. But why? What is really showing that they have no knowledge? Because they don't regard the work of Yah, neither consider how he does things. And so because of our nature to be disobedient, we find ourselves in captivity. And in that captivity, we find it difficult to point out who the honorable men and women are because they're famished. And the multitude dried up with thirst, meaning proper doctrine, which comes from the Ruach, is not what's feeding our people. It's not what's nourishing us, but it didn't take going into captivity for that to happen. That started in our land and led to captivity. Therefore, my people are gone into captivity. Now go to Matthew 6. Let's go to Matthew 6. So we're in captivity. I want to show you something that Yeshua said while the Israelites were in captivity. See, I think that what captivity don't always mean you had to leave the land. Captivity just means that you are captive. You're in bondage to someone. Now, brethren, many people went into captivity outside the land, of course. In Christ's day, many people who were descendants of the 10 tribes being scattered abroad, and even the Babylonian captivity, they still made pilgrimages yearly to Israel in order to partake of feasts and to visit the capital city. But y'all do know, when you look at Acts 2, for instance, when Pentecost comes and tongues fall, you do know that all the people that were there were children from the captivity. They were children from the captivity as far as the diaspora. But this is what's interesting. Anytime they came into Jerusalem, you know what the facts was? Our sovereign capital was occupied and lorded over by the Roman government. So you had people who were in exile in different conditions, and then you had those who were captive in their own borders. The Most High started to take away our sovereignty, even to the point that even though we had some sense of government, what were the Pharisees afraid of? If everyone started to accept Yeshua's doctrine, They said all men everywhere would start to believe on this guy, and then the Romans will do what? Will come and take away our authority, and that will end us as a nation, meaning the little bit of sovereignty we feel like we got left. You want to know how sovereign the Israelites were in the time of Hamashiach? That during the Day of Atonement, the high priest had to go get permission from the tetrarch or the Roman governor who kept the high priest garments under lock and key. And the Romans gave the son of Aaron the high priest garments and let him wear them for the day. And when Yom Kippur was over, you got to give them back. So the people were in bondage in the land in the time of Hamashiach, and many brethren were in exile. All of that's captivity. Now, look at something here. Matthew 6. And when we're there, I start reading at roughly verse, let me see, Matthew 6, verse 24.
No man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve God and mammon.
You cannot serve Elohim and mammon. Now, in another place, it says the Pharisees who were covetous. Let's actually go look at that reference of it right quick. I believe that one is in Luke. Hold on. Yes, Luke 16. When we go to Luke 16, Yeshua is talking about, go ahead and start at 13, good brother.
No servant can serve two masters, for he will either hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve God and mammon. And the Pharisees also, who were covetous, heard all these things, and they derided him.
Hold on. So the Pharisees, now these are some of the main leaders of the government. The government leadership of Israel was made up of the priests and the Pharisees. The Sadducees were of the priestly class. The majority of Sadducees were strict Torah loving cats, and many of them didn't deal with some of the traditions that have become common to us. And then you had those who were of the high priest family, but they were corrupted by that time as well, and they made up the Sanhedrin at that time. It said the Pharisees who were covetous. Now I'm going to take you right here into the Greek, and the word here, is philagros. Philagros, look at this. Strong's definitions: fond of silver, money, i.e. avaricious. Y'all see up here where it says loving money? Avarice. What is avarice? Let's show you. Definition of avarice. Here we go. Let me share the screen right quick, just so you can know. So when we see it in the text, now let's look at what the definition of avarice is. Here we go. Avarice. Hey, bro, can you see what that says right here? This is a simple dictionary search.
Got it. Avarice. Extreme greed for wealth or material gain.
It's that simple. It's a noun. Extreme greed for wealth or for material gain. So when we go back to the text and we look at that as Yeshua gives this sermon about not serving God and mammon, for you won't love both of your masters who you serve equally, it says the Pharisees who were covetous heard all of these things, and they ain't like what Yeshua was saying. Why? Because the leaders of Israel's government had became great lovers of money and gainers of material assets for their individual selves. Now, brethren, this was going to become the same condition that we were in bondage to in the land, and the Most High let foreign invaders come in and have you under tribute. Once he got mad enough to put you all out, he said, what did he say that the land of the captivity was going to do? Let's go to Leviticus 26, if you will. Let's pay attention to what the text is telling us. Leviticus 26. And here we go. Chapter 26, starting at verse 33.
There with you. And I will scatter you among the heathen, and will draw out a sword after you. And your land shall be desolate, and your cities waste.
Continue.
Then shall the land enjoy her Sabbaths, as long as it lie desolate. And ye be in your enemy's land, even then shall the land rest and enjoy her Sabbaths.
Now, we know that this happened to some degree when the Jews left. But I'm telling y'all that the 10 tribes got put out for the same thing. Continue.
As long as it lie desolate, it shall rest, because it did not rest in your Sabbaths, when ye dwelt upon it. And upon them that are left alive of you I will send a faintness into their hearts in the lands of their enemies. And the sound of a shaken leaf shall chase them, and they shall flee as fleeing from a sword, and they shall fall when none pursue. And they shall fall one upon another as it were before a sword when none pursue, and ye shall have no power to stand before your enemies.
A captivity is going to have our people so nervous as a collective that you're going to lose trust for one another in many instances. And when you're in your enemy's land, your enemy ain't even always the time right on. You're in their land, but they're not always right up on you. But because of your situation, there's a spirit in your people that you always on edge. Any little thing look like, oh, the great oppressor. Oh, and sometimes, y'all, it's false alarms. We take everything as if the enemy chasing us. The Most High said, this is a result of the mindset, which is going to be my chastisement upon you, because when I had given you sovereignty, when I gave you statutes to live by, you refused it. So now I'm going to give you a mindset and a heart. As long as y'all don't repent as a people, you are going to have this condition on you. Y'all running and ain't nobody even chasing y'all. And y'all, but guess what it causes? That anxiety or that paranoia starts to cause you to fall upon one another. And because of the dysfunction as a people, that guarantees that in the captivity outside your land, you will not be able to stand before your enemies as any power. You're no threat. I know cats like to think they're a threat. And for anybody who want to get into voting and you talk about Democrats and Republicans, you definitely ain't hitting up on nothing, because they ain't never wrote no voting law in their law to allow you to overtake them simply, their plan and agenda simply by you voting. I know you like to think you do, but that's the damn irony of this place. We live in a country where the citizens don't even realize you create the lottery pot, and then one or two people win it. And y'all know what they're going to guarantee the next time that pot go up to so many millions? About 200 million folk going to go after it again, as if they all going to get it, and only one or two people going to get a little bit of it. That's what this place is. There's always this control mechanism. But guess what the control mechanism is? This place is awesome with their control mechanism, because it's built upon your own lusts. The things you don't desire will have no control and influence over you. Not that they're not trying to control and influence over you and influence you, but it simply doesn't, you're not attracted to them things. So you don't participate in them things anymore. They don't interest you. But our people as a whole, we have no power to stand before our enemies as any kind of threat to them and making their land unstable. The only thing we're going to do is this if we don't repent as a people. Continue at verse 38, Ak.
And ye shall perish among the heathen, and the land of your enemies shall eat you up. And they that are left of you shall pine away in their iniquity in your enemies' lands. And also in the iniquities of their fathers shall they pine away with them.
You will perish among the heathen. What does it mean? Not that you're going to disappear, but you're powerless. You have no power among them. Your strength is gone. You're perished. And the land of your enemies is going to consume you. That's it. Everything about it, all of its culture, all of its desire is what you will become. You will no longer look like a separate people. You will look just like your enemy's land, whatever their culture, whatever their desire is. Here is the American dream. Well, our people chasing the American dream. Our people are not looking to get away from this system and start to love and follow the Most High. Folk go to church, though, but that don't mean that they trying to actually be part of a different kind of culture, per se. And those who are left in the enemy's land will what? You will pine away in the iniquity that you choose. Where? In your enemy's land. And the iniquities, the consequences of the generations before you, and some of the evil they chose will also what? It's going to also be on your jacket. So let's look at something. I want to turn you all on to something, because when we look at Egypt, how do you, you know, when Abraham has that dream, or he had a nightmare, but Genesis 15 don't describe everything Abraham saw. All we know is that when he awoke, the Most High told him, and based on what he saw, he's like, yeah, your children going to be strangers in the land that not theirs, and the people who they among, them people going to wind up, man, oppressing them and afflicting them for 400 years. But when it's over, I'm going to bring them out with great substance. Brethren, were the children of Israel an innocent people who did no evil, and so the Most High just wanted to put them in captivity? Or were they in captivity possibly for doing evil, but consider the operations of Yah's hand? He takes our evil decisions, chastises us, but still, according to his mercy, he still has a plan to redeem us that he walks along. Our decisions will not stop his plan, but our decisions are ours, right? I want to show you all the source. Don't look at it that when I share sources with you all, that it's meant for you to appeal to the authority and rest your conclusions on sources. Sources are just to give you a glimpse into how other people are looking at stuff you might just be starting to look at. But it's people who are dedicated to a discipline, and I respect different disciplines. So I like this site. I got a lot of articles from this kind of site, @zion.org. And it talks about the exile in Egypt, process or punishment. I'm going to go ahead and share the screen so many of you can read this with us. Where we at? Here we go. There we go. The Shema, the exile in Egypt, process or punishment. So you have these various arguments, right? And here, I'm going to start at the beginning, but I'm not going to read it all. What I will do, let me copy this right quick. I'm going to put the link in the chat in case some of you actually are interested in reading this kind of stuff. Here we go. That's for y'all. All right. So here we go. Let's start right there, Ak, the central theme.
The central theme of the first half of the book of the Shema is the enslavement in Egypt and their miraculous salvation by the hand of Elohim. The captivating story is one of the pivotal narratives of the Torah and is fundamental for both nation. Is that what that says? It's kind of cut off there.
It's cut off there?
Oh, wait. No. We good. My bad.
Okay.
Is from both national, historical, and religious theological perspectives. It is through the Exodus that the people of Israel established themselves both as an independent nation and as the nation of God. The question which we wish to grapple with this week is, why did the history of the people unfold in the manner in which it did? Why was it necessary for the children of Israel to go into exile in Egypt and suffer oppression and slavery? What prevented their immediate inheritance of the land of Israel as promised by God to the forefathers?
Okay.
To answer this question, we must revert to the first mention of the exile in Egypt in the book of Genesis. As the sun was about to set, a deep sleep fell on Abram, and a great dark dread descended upon him. And he, God, said to Abram, "Know well that your offspring shall be strangers in a land not theirs, and they shall be enslaved and oppressed 400 years. But I will execute judgment on the nation they shall serve, and in the end they shall go free with great wealth. And they shall return here in the fourth generation, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet complete."
Now, what's interesting here is that we clearly don't have an issue looking at Egypt as a sinful nation. They oppressed and enslaved the Israelites, and so they're going to get their just desserts. But did they enslave an innocent people, or did the Egyptians enslave a sinful people? Do we ever kind of think of who the Israelites were? Now, we're not going to read all of this for the sake of time. I can't get as exhaustive as I did when me and the brethren were building the way we were building. But I want to show you all something here. I think I might want to read from the Abravanel. You have different Jewish and Israelite sages. I say Jewish because not all the rabbis in antiquity were Israelites by blood, but they were Jew by religious choice. Like one of the most famous, Akiba. Rabbi Akiba, who is probably the first great rabbi many people are taught about in regular Judaism. They all know that Akiba was a Gentile. He was not an Israelite by blood. His father and his mother were ethnically Syrians, but he adopted the Israelite way, and he became one of the greatest rabbis in antiquity. And he was like a 2nd century guy. So just understand, this is facts, but it still don't take away from the fact that they got names and great reputation among the people of their time. So I want to read this here, and we're going to look at one particular view that is interesting here. This is who they call, quote unquote, the Abravanel, which is a famous rabbi named Don Isaac Abravanel out of Spain in the 15th century. I like his one of his views on this. So go ahead and check this out, bro. Right there.
Starting at Abravanel.
Yes.
Abravanel then offers his own novel explanation for the suffering of the Israelites in Egypt. We should hold that the exile in Egypt came about as a result of sin. It is improper that we should blame our father Abraham. God forbid that he would sin. It is much more plausible to attribute the sin to the sons of Jacob. The Torah testifies to the fact that they sinned a horrible sin in their unjustified hatred towards their brother Joseph, and in their plot to kill him upon his visiting them, and their throwing him into a pit, and in their selling him to the Egyptians. And since they sinned, they deserve to be punished. And since they sinned in Egypt by selling their brother as a slave there, it was only appropriate that they should also be punished in Egypt and be slaves there. They and their offspring for many years. And just as they threw Joseph into the pit, all their newborn males were thrown into the Nile. And just as they caused Joseph to be brought down to Egypt, Joseph caused them to move to Egypt.
Now, remember in Joseph's narrative, when his father Jacob dies, it actually says that they came to him because they was like, our father is dead. Now he gonna wild on us. But Joseph was like, yo, I forgive y'all. What you meant for evil, God meant for good. Meaning, it's not saying that God made them do that to Joseph. I don't get that out of it, because remember, God don't tempt men to sin. So their sin was their own. But even though once God understood their motives and their narrative, because he know the end from the beginning, he used it still to put the people in a position to save them. So they're going to have their heart evil against their brother, but I'm going to take it and I'm going to use it knowing that they're going to need to be here. But in being here, the Most High is the same today, yesterday, and forever. He changeth not. He still visit the sins of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation. How many generations would it be before they come back into the land? 4. In their 4th generation, they shall come here. So as the Most High is still having mercy according to his plan, it is not all based on how the Israelites will do righteousness or not. In spite of their righteousness or lack thereof, he will still bring to pass his word. Or as Paul said in his letter to the Galatians, he said, I think it was Paul who said it. He said, what if some didn't believe? If some of them didn't believe, would it make the promise of God of none effect? Meaning, if some of the people didn't believe, was that going to stop the Most High from doing what he promised? He said no. So understand that the Most High having a work that he promised in Abram, the children of Israel, it would have been better for them to be all righteous people, but they weren't all righteous. But the Most High never made their righteousness a prerequisite to promise Abraham anything. You see that? And because of that, there are some things that's right in the scripture that we could miss. Now, let's go here to the Shemat Rabbah, which is a collection of all these different sayings of the rabbis who argued over this point. And I like reading this stuff because they didn't all say the same thing. They argue with each other the same way we be on Clubhouse looking at the same text and being like, no, I see this. And another brother, sister, like, well, no, I see this. That's why I like reading this stuff, because it's not always they just all looked at it one way. Here we go. It says when Joseph died. Look at this. Go ahead. Read that.
When Joseph died, they, the Israelites, abolished the covenant of circumcision, saying, let us become like the Egyptians. You can infer this from the fact that Moses had to circumcise them on their departure from Egypt. As soon as they had done so, God converted the love which the Egyptians loved them, the Israelites, into hatred.
How many people understand that when they left Egypt, the whole generation that left Egypt had to get circumcised before they left out? Why did they all have to get circumcised? Because it wasn't something they were doing anymore in Egypt. Now, in Israelite mythos, the claim is the Israelites got away from it in order to become more like the Egyptians. Now, to some people, that can be hard to perceive. But what's not written in our Bibles is still written in Israelite historical sources, like the book of Maccabees. Don't the book of Maccabees tell you that when the Greek culture came right into the land during the time of Epiphanius, and Hellenism became very influential, and the Greeks had started to build gymnasiums and stuff around the cities of Judah? Doesn't it say that when the Israelites saw that the Greeks worked out in the nude and that they were uncircumcised, and that the Greeks who worshiped the male physique, when they made fun of the Hebrews coming into the gyms naked without the foreskin, it says many Israelites even had operations to put skin back on their penises in order to look uncircumcised when they visited the Greek gymnasiums to learn the Greek culture of exercise in that manner. See, the Hebrews were an agrarian people. You work on farms and walk mountains all your life and take care of sheep, you're going to be in shape. But the Greeks actually focused on sculpting of the body. And when the Greeks introduced that to the Hebrews, man, you had Israelites who was like, damn, the Greeks making fun of us. So many of them, in their lust for the, I guess, the attraction that Greek culture has. I know people want to act like you shouldn't be attracted to, look, man, look, don't get it twisted. The children of men are not just totally simple. We're sinful as hell, but not just totally simple. And there are things you can see and admire in other cultures. When you meet a culture of men who are physically superior to you in natural brute strength. And you like, yo, damn, how y'all get that strong? And they show you they got a workout regimen to on purpose make themselves stronger. If you and your brothers want to get stronger, then what would y'all do? Y'all would be like, yo, show us them methods and them techniques. And now you adopt it. What I'm saying to you all is, hey, whether you like it or not, the scripture tells us in the book of Ezekiel, when the children of Israel saw how royal the Assyrians and the Chaldeans carried themselves and how regal and powerful their mighty men looked on horseback. And when they went into their cities and saw the pictures upon the walls painted in vermilion, what did the Most High say the children of Israel did? It said they lusted. They lusted, man. What I'm telling you is, don't think it's far-fetched when the Israelites had a custom where they was like, yo, our fathers gave up the covenant of circumcision in Egypt and said, let us be more like the Egyptians. Brethren, see, this follows a pattern. Let me give you an example. Because some people will be like, well, I ain't read that in the scripture. Well, I'm not sola scriptura, all right, for everything I know. And neither were the Israelites, by the way. That's more of a modern thing that happened. You know, Gentiles done told us that, and now we run around here, sola scriptura. Look, in the book of Judges, it tells us that after Joshua and all that leadership died, within a generation or two, you had a whole generation of people born that did what? That didn't know Joshua and them. See, brethren, it's a difference between hearing about somebody. I don't know no damn Booker T. Washington. I don't know no W.E.B. Du Bois. I ain't never met George Washington Carver. I ain't met Marcus Garvey. I ain't met no Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. Now, under modern technology, at least a couple of them guys, you can see them on some old black and white TV film footage. But other than that, the other guys you hear about, you don't know them. I don't know what it is to grow up like Booker T. Washington and have to learn how to read in the church because you, along with grown black men, are trying to learn how to read. I've been reading since I was 5 years old. My mother had me a subscription to Golden Eagle Book Club when I was 7. Every 3 months, I got 6 new books. And before them 3 months was up, I read them 6 books and knowing that 6 more was coming. My mama paid for that because I asked her to, because that's how much of a bookworm I was in my house. I'm not like Booker T and them. I've been reading since I was 5 years old. Many of you aren't anything like them. So even though we'll hear about them, by them not being among us, our day and our moment is our reality. And I'm going to tell you, many of us live more like white Americans did in their time than they ever did. And that's just facts. Most of us live equal to how white folk in the day of Booker T. Washington would have lived. They had to get it out the mud. We claim we get it out the mud, not all of us. Just because you live in the projects and you're a little poor, don't compare your mud to Booker T. Washington getting it out of the mud. So check this out. A generation right after Joshua and them die, they hear about the great elders, but they don't know them. They never met them. What did that generation fall to? Didn't that generation want to be like the people of the land? And they started to fall to the customs and the culture that they saw around them. And the Most High got mad and punished that generation. And now here come the Philistines starting to oppress them right in the land. Y'all don't see it? The pattern is equal all the time. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is true. But I'm also going to say that we got other sources besides this one in case people want to kind of dismiss it off your shoulder. Let's look at this next one where it says, read right there, a similar idea.
A similar idea is echoed in a different interpretation of our sages on the verse, and the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly, and the land was filled with them.
Okay, good. Continue.
The amphitheaters and circuses were full of them. Yakut, Shimoni, and
That's from
And
you all that. That's from a 13th century work that is talking that always harken back to the oral traditions among them about how the Israelites fell to sin in Egypt. The amphitheaters and circuses were full of them. The entertainment of the culture, the same way you find us all in the music industry, the sports industry, entertainment, whatever it is, brethren, it was the same way in Egypt. But continue though. And now remember, to be fair, this is part of Israelite oral tradition, so some people can dismiss it. That's a you choice. Go ahead, brother. Continue.
upon setting in their new abode in Egypt, the Israelites began to counsel their Jewishness. Conceal, excuse me. They wished to obscure any physical manifestations of their being different from the Egyptians, and therefore did not circumcise their boys. In addition, they were immersed in the Egyptian culture, enthusiastically attending Egyptian cultural events and adopting their modes of entertainment. Egyptian sports and theater were popular pastimes amongst the new Jewish immigrants.
Okay, let's look at hold on, where we at? This one right here. Continue.
The Israelites assimilated both culturally and physically. They left the Jewish neighborhoods and preferred to dwell in Egyptian ones.
Now, you know what that sounds similar to? That sounds like Black Wall Street. You know how black folk love to talk about we need to self-sustain. And one of the first things you hear, remember Black Wall Street? Well, let me tell you a little bit about young Black Wall Street. See, Black Wall Street did have that event where that situation happened, which was a lie. And what based upon it, then white folk came out of southern and western Tulsa and descended on North Tulsa and assaulted that business district and community that belonged to black folk, and a whole bunch of people died, right? And they set a lot of stuff on fire. History tells us that it took almost a decade for them to kind of build back up to almost former capacity, but build back up they did nonetheless. So how did Black Wall Street go away after the rebuild? Y'all know how they went away? The passing of immigration laws and civil rights legislation. Black folk started to do what they had been coveting to do and fought to do. Y'all know what they fought for? They didn't fight to just be treated equal and leave us the damn alone. Black folk fought to leave their neighborhoods and go to South Tulsa. So you know what killed Black Wall Street the second time? All of them businesses that were black owned and operated in North Tulsa. In the late 1960s, black people stood with their backs to them damn businesses waiting at the bus stop so they could get on buses and go to South Tulsa, so they could eat in those diners and shop in them shops and go to them gas stations and go to those theaters and those nightclubs. And I'm not against it. I'm just telling you that the people desire. See, many people have this false narrative of us where they make it seem like black folk just loved each other and we were just together. No, damn it. Segregation forced you to be where you at. And as soon as laws was passed saying, yo, you got the choice, you see the choice that was made, don't you? Where you shop now? Black man open a damn store and selling some boots in your community. You come up in there, man, he ain't got enough variety. You tried to patronize him, but it's just not like what you used to, what the white folk got. So if you just like Zaydok, you don't drove out to the damn suburbs to the mall. Because the Apple store out there, I'm talking to y'all now from my MacBook Pro. This thing cost me over $3,000. Brought it a year or two ago. I ain't get that from the hood. I went out there to go get it. That's just the truth. So what I'm saying to you is stop making it seem like when you found us in pockets in the captivity that it always represented our love and togetherness. No, the same way our people were huddled on them ships by force. Negroes weren't in the ships by the thousands because we just wanted to be that close to each other. We were forced into the hulls of them ships and brought to this country. And we were forced into communities. You know how many black people left the South and came up here during the great exodus out of the South in the 30s and 40s and 50s and came to Indiana, Illinois, Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, Maryland. Y'all know why all them Negroes came up here from Louisiana and Texas and Alabama and Mississippi and all of that? Because they wanted to come up here and get them jobs. And you had black folk, they came up here and got in them unions and started making the exact same wage as their white counterparts. And then when they went to go start buying up them properties and white folks seen that black folk were starting to buy up house after house, the white folk moved out. And then guess what? Negroes was like, well, where y'all going? We came up here to live. So now some of our people even went out further where they knew white people were moving. And guess what got passed? Redlining laws to make it difficult, not for you to buy a home in the neighborhoods we gonna leave y'all in, but to go out where white folk at and buy property next to them. That's what redlining did. But the only reason they passed it is because a lot, I ain't saying all, but a great percentage of black folk just wanted to be treated equal. Equal, not equal, but separate. That was Malcolm X and them thinking. No, equal and integrated. Like, no, we all get along. All of us together. And I don't have a problem with that either. I'm just telling you the truth that most people don't want to talk about because they want to romanticize us. Like we loved each other and was together. Man, go and do y'all real research on some of them very, very powerful and very rich early black business districts. And look at how you had blacks who had a whole bunch of poor blacks under heavy debt. Don't be mad at the messenger. It's just the facts. Now, the reason that I point that out is because when we read this source, doesn't it sound just like you? You think you an Israelite, right? Some of y'all watching think y'all Israelites. Okay, then guess what? In Egypt, it was the same way. According to at least Israelite tradition, you won't find this great depth of detail. All you read in Exodus is the Israelites was there, the Egyptians did this, that, and the third, and the crying and the burden of their affliction came to the ears of the Most High. And he basically was like, yo, it's time to save them, folks. It's time for me to go ahead and bring them up out of there. But were they crying to him directly? Not all of them, no. And we're going to show it to you. Now we're going to show that to you in the Bible. But hey, go ahead and read a little bit more of this before we go back into the scripture.
Although their father Jacob was wise enough to foresee the dangers and therefore requested that they dwell separately in Goshen, they did not comply with their father's wish and settled in all sections of Egypt. According to our sages, the reason for the oppression of the Israelites by the Egyptians is their turning their backs on their Jewish heritage and their desire to ape Egyptian culture.
I believe that should say adopt.
Adopt, okay. The Netziv adds that this is the reason for our persecution not only in Egypt, but also throughout all of Jewish history.
I'll put the link in the chat. Y'all can read it on your time. Whatever you accept, you accept. Whatever you don't, it won't make me no never mind. But I wanted to share something with you all to consider some of what would have been discussion. This is the kind of stuff that Yeshua, especially after the second temple period, this is the kind of stuff that Yeshua and them would have grew up and they would have heard the Gamaliels and them of the land preaching this kind of concept, especially as they're warning them to not get to get away from Hellenistic culture, get away from Roman influence. Don't you understand why Nehemiah and them were so afraid of the people getting into covenant with the people of the lands when they came back to build the city? Because the same thing would happen. You will take away the hearts of the people from Yah and you'll start following a contrary culture. And the claim is the children of Israel in Egypt over time started to love Egyptian culture. But this is what's interesting. Y'all know why it's not so far-fetched? Because many of us would want to make it, but the family of Israel, not the nation, the family of the Israelites didn't have a whole bunch of codified law. They had oral tradition. They would have the ways of their fathers, the same way the Native American indigenous tribes didn't write down all of their customs. You ever wonder how the indigenous tribes of this continent, how generation after generation they carried on the same customs? Because of oral tradition and hands-on teaching. You got to understand the Israelites were not a damn empire of imperialists or something. They were an agrarian kingdom. And so their traditions would have been like others around them. Stop looking to the Sumerians and the great Assyrians and them and acting like the Israelites gotta have the same stuff you found among them. The difference is all them people you look to when you're looking for the tablets and the stels, damn it, them were all imperialists. The Egyptians, the Assyrians, the Babylonians, the Greeks, the Persians, and the Romans, them all empire builders. The children of Israel were no empire builders. So you can't go into archaeology and anthropology and make, in order to accept what they say about themselves, you need to find all of this. It's mind-boggling. Y'all don't do that to Bedouin tribes. The Israelites are a shepherd people who came up out of a land. They fought what some people would call civil war with the Canaanite and other inhabitants of the land and took over. They didn't get on ships and go to Rome and try to take it. Now we're going to go into Libya and take that. We're going to go back across the Euphrates and we're going to run up in Babylon and tell the Persians it's time to go. That's not the Israelites' history. So stop looking for the same evidences that you would look for that empire builders left behind. It's not the same, people. We got this book and we got many of the great oral traditions among the people that tell extra to the story, and you accept it or not. I don't, just because your pastor ain't never said this in the church don't mean that it's not true or that it wasn't at least viable education to the Israelite culture. So with that being the case, let's go back into the text. Because if this is true, then there's something interesting that I find in the book of Revelation. Go to Revelation chapter 11. And it talks about the two witnesses. We just going to read this one text. And the reason I'm going here, brethren, is because what's interesting to me that we just saw in that last little diatribe on the Israelites, it says that Jacob desired for them to stay separate from the children of Egypt. And that's why Goshen was so important when Joseph gave it. Do y'all understand that the Israelites, when they came into Egypt, Joseph guaranteed that they could get wealthy and stay separate? You know how? Hey, Haven, I got a question for you. Put you on the spot. Hey, when Joseph's brothers came into Egypt and he knew who they were and he invited them to the dinner, they didn't know who he was, but he had set them from the youngest to the eldest and set all of this food in front of them. The scripture says that he set his brothers together and then he sat by himself, right? You remember that?
Yes.
You remember why the scripture said Joseph sat by himself?
Man, it's escaping me.
It's all good. It's all good. Let's actually go there. Yeah. See, you just gave me an excuse to go and read these scriptures. Let's go here. Let's go into Genesis. Hold on for a second. Genesis 42, is it? I think it's 42. He opened his sack. My money is restored. Hold on, brethren. The Lord of the country. Okay. Yeah, because I think when they ate that dinner, that's when he had them bring Benjamin back. Hold on. Joseph sees Benjamin. Hold on, brethren. Just because this wasn't in my notes, but I just want to show you all this here. Oh, here we go. I'm going to share the screen right quick. Genesis 43. Just listen to this, y'all, because we talk about how great Joseph was. And Joseph had big bread. Joseph was, man, look, Joseph was all right as an individual, but we can lose sight of the reality of his condition. And he understood the realities. And sometimes we get so damn caught up in the fact that you got Michael Jordan and Oprah Winfrey and Tyler Perry and somebody, and you hear about these black millionaires that you feel like the people are in captivity or in bondage. Joseph had been sold into what? Bondage. And just to let you know that even though the Most High had favor on him, what many people are mistaken is the favor of God and relief from it being so unbearable all the time that you'll go out here and say, well, the people aren't in captivity no more. No, they are. Look at this. And the oppression. Oppression don't always come with chains. Do you know it's oppressive to treat a woman like a second-class citizen? Do you know it's oppressive to treat other people just based on their ethnicity like they're beneath you? That's oppression. Let's look at something. Genesis 43. Hey, if you just joining us, welcome to the Bible Dojo. It's your brother Zaydok in Israel. Got my brother Haven. We getting this teaching in tonight. I asked those of you on YouTube and Facebook, share this out. If you on YouTube, become a subscriber to the channel. Hit that notification bell and give me a thumbs up before you leave. If you on Facebook, send a friend request. If you're not a friend, share this out. Give me them thumbs up and them hearts at times. It's vanity, but it's social media. Those on Clubhouse, share the room out. Become a member of the Bible Dojo. Also, give me a follow, and I would greatly appreciate it. But we getting it in, so let me share the screen right quick. Genesis 43. And check this out. Okay. Genesis 43. And it says, so Joseph, he going to have his brothers get set up. And verse 31. Go ahead, bro.
And he washed his face and went out and refrained himself and said, set on bread. And they set on for him by himself and for them by themselves and for the Egyptians, which did eat with him by themselves, because the Egyptians might not eat bread with the Hebrews, for that is an abomination unto the Egyptians.
Wait. Joseph had them set up his food at his table by himself, and for his brothers by themselves, and for the Egyptians who were in the room by themselves. What? Now, I'm telling you that this was Joseph's life. So people can point out that Joseph was second or third in the kingdom, the Pharaoh and all that. That's great. This man, he got a wife, he didn't have a family, but damn it, he still suffered under racism. With all of his important status, them Egyptian officials still didn't eat at the same table with him because he come from a shepherd people and they knew what he came from. And it's an abomination unto the Egyptians to eat with the Hebrews. Do that sound familiar? Later on in the New Testament, what did Peter say? Hey, you know how it's unlawful for a Jew to keep company or come unto one of another nation. Damn it, that was not in the laws of God. It's just showing you that even by the time of Christ's day, the Hebrews fell to such an apostate position with the way they looked at themselves and they went about establishing their own form of righteousness. They became as racist as the Egyptians treated Joseph. Joseph was probably richer than all the people in the room, but you still eat over there. Y'all remember hearing the stories about restaurants in Chicago? As Oprah Winfrey became a public figure, it was still racist parts in Chicago where the richest black woman in America still wasn't welcome in certain restaurants. And damn it, that ain't the Deep South. That's in Chicago. To this day, y'all know one of the most racist places that baseball players and basketball players in the league today say that they still don't like playing in that much? Damn it, Boston. Not Texas. Not deep down in Mississippi. Black NBA players say they still hear a whole bunch of racist tropes screamed at them every time they play in Boston. New York Yankee players, the Hispanic players and black players, they like, yo, them crowds in Boston is too much. But see, there's a historical narrative to racism in Boston as well. Don't get all caught up in the fact that they tell you in American history that Crispus Attucks was the first one to die in the American Revolution because of the Boston Tea Party thing. They make you want to think that the whole damn thing started because they shot a black man. Nah, y'all, stop it. Why am I going this route? Not to tell you to separate yourself from, white people and other people in your American experience. No. I'm trying to let you understand what captivity looks like, what oppression looks like for your people, no matter how free you feel. Joseph was that important. Well, remember, all the Egyptians didn't point them to that. They just had to bite their lip that's Pharaoh man. Pharaoh hired that man and put him in charge of all of us. So we got to do what Pharaoh want. But Pharaoh ain't going to just change our heart. Egyptians don't eat with no Hebrews. So Joseph ate by himself, no matter how important he was. Interesting, huh? Now, Joseph did this. Let's go over. When he brought his brethren, this is what he told them when they brought his father in, right? He said, hold on. Yes, here. So the famine had been in the land. And look at what Joseph tells them, right? He said, you will dwell in Goshen and you will be near me, you and your children and your children's children and your flocks and herds and all that you have. And there I will nourish you. Now check this out. Joseph is going to give them an edge that could escape us to make sure that not only did they get their own land, y'all, the Israelites for a long time lived separately from the Egyptian culture. But look at this. Joseph said, hey, when Pharaoh comes, I'm going to take y'all to Pharaoh. When Pharaoh call you, say this. Verse, where we at? Verse 31, Genesis 46 and 31. Go ahead and read that, Ak.
And Joseph said unto his brethren and unto his father's house, I will go up and show Pharaoh and say unto him, my brethren and my father's house, which were in the land of Canaan, are come unto me. And the men are shepherds, for their trade hath been to feed cattle. And they have brought their flocks and their herds and all that they have. And it shall come to pass when Pharaoh shall call, you shall say, what is your occupation? Yet ye shall say, thy servant's trade hath been about cattle, from our youth even until now, both we and also our fathers, that ye may dwell in the land of Goshen. For every shepherd is an abomination unto the Egyptians.
Joseph set this up so that they would stay separate from the Egyptians. He understood what he'd been, even though he done forgave his brothers. See, people don't romanticize Joseph's experience in Egypt. When he got married and he had a couple kids, he showed that, I'm starting to feel better. When he had his second son, he said, you know what? I'm getting a little comfortable and I'm starting to forget my trouble. No, y'all, look at what Manasseh and Joseph named them according to how he was starting to feel after being in damn Egypt for 13 years. It wasn't easy for him. Y'all think it was easy for Daniel to have cats plotting against him in the government because they didn't like that Israelites position? Daniel walked around with the scarlet robe, had on the gold chain and all that. Maybe that's where these young rappers get it from. They got the spirit of Daniel on them. Wear the young chain, the gold scepter with the amulet and all that. I'm being facetious there. But Daniel, look at what he suffered. Sometimes we'll look at the fact that the Most High had favor with them and exalted them, but that don't mean everybody loved them. God just made sure that he put them next to the most important people who The scripture says when you're Israel, you will have power with God and man. And what does it say? So that even your enemies will be at peace with you. It just means they ain't got to like you, but they ain't gonna be able to really do too much to you either. See, people make it seem like the favor of the Lord means you get exalted among your enemies and they like you. No, he said they'll just be at peace with you. And look, we enemies, but ain't nobody gonna do nothing to you. I'm come from street culture. I had some enemies out there, and I knew who they were, and they knew who I was. And we just didn't kill each other. We stayed away from each other. We seen each other. We looked at each other and kept it moving. And with some enemies, it's gonna go war mode. But you'll have enemies who, no, we don't rock with each other. I don't like them guys. They don't like us either. And we understand that. So we gonna not step on each other's toes. And that is what keeps peace between us. Brethren, I believe that this is more of how we should look at these things. Joseph wasn't loved by all of them officials in Egypt. You got men, just imagine you an Egyptian, you've been serving Pharaoh all this time, you waiting for your opportunity to get this position. And here come this Negro. You ain't gonna go against Pharaoh, but he ain't got to make you like it either. Same thing happened with Daniel. Y'all think all of them astrologers and magicians and wise men of Babylon appreciated Daniel for embarrassing him when he could get interpretation to the king's dream and they couldn't? No. That's why y'all see every now and again this little story pop up. They were looking for a way to get rid of Daniel. So they came up, y'all, they made up that whole damn elaborate scheme with the statues and all that just to try to get rid of Daniel and them. Do y'all realize when you read the book that that's what it's claiming? These high officials in the government, they ain't gonna say it directly to Nebuchadnezzar. They ain't feeling Daniel like, yo, we got to get rid of this dude. That's what the captivity looked like. Don't get so caught up in how much favor the Most High had with them that you lose sight of the human reality that they living in. And it was the same for Joseph. And look at the text carefully. It says right here, you tell Pharaoh, you've been individuals who have taken care of cattle, basically your shepherds. That why don't tell them nothing else, just tell them that. And what would that guarantee? That you may dwell in the land of Goshen, for every shepherd is an abomination to the Egyptians. The Israelites doing nothing in Egypt but taking care of flocks would guarantee that just like they sat at the table separate from the Egyptians, like their brother Joseph, they would live in Egyptian society and they would be well off and they would be separate. So the source we read before this was letting you know they eventually got away from this as generations in them go on. Joseph and them die off. You got generations being born that's leaving Goshen and they fanning out into the rest of Egyptian society as well. Let's go over to the next chapter. So when they get called in, look at this. Joseph says to Pharaoh what it is. Verse 3. Go ahead. 47:3.
And Pharaoh said unto his brethren, What is your occupation? And they said unto the Pharaoh, Thy servants are shepherds, both we and also our fathers. They said moreover unto Pharaoh, For to sojourn in the land are we come, for thy servants have no pasture for their flocks. For the famine is sore in the land of Canaan. Now therefore we pray thee, let thy servants dwell in the land of Goshen. And Pharaoh spake unto Joseph, saying, Thy father and thy brethren are come unto thee? The land of Egypt is before thee, and the best of the land make thy father and brethren to dwell in the land of Goshen. Let them dwell, and if thou know any man of activity among them, then make them rulers over my cattle.
Hold on. What does, now we could lose sight of this. Joseph told his brothers, yo, it's 5 years left on the famine. So I'm going to put y'all in Goshen. Pharaoh ask y'all what y'all do. Tell him this. That way y'all can stay in Goshen separate. And y'all going to get, and we going to make sure we all right. Y'all going to be, I'm going to make sure y'all by me. And guess what? He said, your children and your children's children will be okay if y'all follow my plan. He had a whole plan for Egypt that we'll read about as the famine got worse, but we'll miss the plan he had for his own family while the famine was happening. Make them rulers over my cattle. Didn't it say that by the time the famine was over, with them next 5 years past, that Pharaoh owned all the damn cattle in Egypt? Isn't that what it said? You read that before, Haven? Have
Yes.
you read that before, right?
Yes.
So guess what? If y'all don't pay attention, we'll all miss this. If Pharaoh wind up owning all the cattle in Egypt and Joseph is in charge of the whole plan, what did Pharaoh just say? Yo, if any of your people, any of them got good business skill, make them rulers over all my cattle. That means that by the time by the time the famine was almost over, the children of Israel lived separately, yet had the cattle industry in Egypt on lock because they came in with their own animals and they were hired to take care of all of Pharaoh's cattle. Well, by the time you get to that 7th year, Pharaoh owned all the damn cattle in Egypt. How about that? So do y'all understand that when the Israelites went into Egypt, they actually were on steroids with the bread? This is why it says that later on, a couple generations down, when Joseph and them ain't around no more, in a new dynasty, a new family takeover that's not related to the family Joseph worked under, they was like, yo, these people are too wealthy and too numerous. And have you ever wondered how the Israelites got that wealthy? Well, now you know. If you didn't know, Joseph set them up to be separate and wealthy and contained. So we could be like that in the captivity if we wanted to, but we don't want to be nothing like that. Which is why most of us don't feel we in no more captivity, because we're American. We're as American as them guys became Egyptian. Now, look at this right here. Look at this right here. Revelation 11:8, bro. Go ahead and read that.
Yeah. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified.
Brethren, why was the city spiritually, we talking about Jerusalem, why was the capital city of Israel spiritually called Egypt and Sodom? Well, think of Egypt, what you think you know of Egypt, but I'm showing you how our fathers and mothers possibly fell in love with Egypt as they became wealthy. They were wealthy. They controlled a whole industry in Egypt, and it could go right past you. But the Most High knew what would come of it. And the Most High is the greatest orchestrator of how to use what he sees afar off, because he know the end from the beginning, and he still use it to move them a certain way. The threat to the Egyptians was the fact that the children of Israel grew bigger and bigger in number and increased and got richer and richer in assets. And so what did the Egyptian dynasty that came along do? We about to show you what they did. But I want to ask you all something. Yeshua says that in the time of his coming, that it should be like the days of Noah. People just going about living their lives and doing what they're doing, building for the future. The children of Israel, whether y'all want to believe it or not, don't get caught up in them making straw and brick. I'm gonna show you why they got why that happened. I believe I can show you why it happened and how the Most High used it. When Moses show up to free the people, Christ come again. What is our ark in the time of Noah? What is our Goshen when Moses show up, if you will? I'm just throwing that out there because that is the spirit of various conversations that I think need to be had among the believers, and it's not being had enough, in my opinion. But I don't want to go there fully. But wait, hold on. It's spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. So we might know a little bit about Egypt. We read that the children of Israel started to become carried away with Egyptian culture. But when most people in church culture talk about Sodom, they literally talk about it in the damn context of, oh, it fell because they was homos. Yo, Sodom and Gomorrah did not get destroyed because they was too gay. That could have been one of the things. And people usually intimate that because you read the episode with the angels, right? Well, were they any more gayer than the tribe, than the sons of Benjamin who surrounded bro house after they had and they wanted to be sexual with the man inside the house, and they threw the concubine out there and she got raped to the point they killed the woman, and then that led to a civil war where the 11 tribes damn near almost destroyed the tribe of Benjamin. So you won't say the tribe of Benjamin was destroyed because they simply were gay or some of them. Don't do that. Let the Bible tell us what in the heck was wrong with them. Ezekiel 16. So when you see what the Most High gives a little bit more information on, then just at least add this when you want to talk about, oh, they was homos. You got people running around here, you know, that once homosexuality starts to permeate a land, historically, a lot of lands end as the gay stuff grows. Well, that's just one abomination. I mean, come on. So that's it, huh? Well, let's show you the Most High never mentioned them being gay alone as the reason. But this will also let you know why Jerusalem was spiritually called Egypt and also Sodom. So think of this when you think of Sodom and Gomorrah too. Ezekiel 16. Here we go. Verse 46.
And thine elder sister is Samaria, and she and her daughters that dwell at thy left hand, and thy younger sister that dwell at thy right hand is Sodom and her daughters.
Brethren, there is no Sodom in that day. He's calling his own people by the name of something that is supposed to make you think a certain way. Continue.
Yet hast thou not walked after their ways, nor done after their abominations? But as if that were a very little thing, thou was corrupted more than they in all thy ways.
That is not good. Continue.
As I live, saith Yah Elohim, Sodom thy sister hath not done, she nor her daughters, as thou hast done, thou and thy daughters.
Hold on. Are y'all taking this in? Stop romanticizing us, damn it. We deserve to be in captivity. You want out of it, then find out how to get out of it. But don't fix your lips to make this all about some outside oppressor and what they did to us. Look at what he say. You have done it. They was trash, and you ain't do as bad as them. You don't even understand. In my eyes, you did worse. Go ahead, brother. What was the sin of Sodom? Verse 49.
Behold, this was the iniquity of thy sister Sodom, pride, fullness of bread.
Hold on. Let's walk that slow. Pride. Some people want to say gay pride. Fullness of bread, overabundance. Y'all, it's not, you know the last thing that's a problem? Food. It's more than enough food. Shouldn't nobody be here starving. But with the fullness of food also came, what's the next thing?
Abundance of idleness.
Abundance of idleness was in her and her daughters. Y'all know what that means? Remember, it says that when it rained fire and brimstone, not only Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed, it says Sodom, Gomorrah, and all the cities of the plain. They were all in confederacy with Sodom and Gomorrah. They had a confederacy that became supremely wealthy, overabundance of food, yet ain't nobody busy. It's just like today. Don't nobody want to work hard no more. I get tired of hearing Negroes jumping on political statements all of a sudden. You got black folk and white folk running around talking about these Mexican immigrants coming in, these illegal immigrants, they're taking all our jobs. I ain't met a nigga yet who raising his son to work in no damn almond farms out in the hot California sun. I ain't met none of you that's raising your children to pick lemons, limes, and oranges on them damn farms in Florida. Now, I ain't met one of you. I ain't met one of you that's raising your children to work in them chicken plants, all in the Virginias and all in Alabama, even though it's a whole bunch of black folk down there. Why they not packing them meat packing plants? And the Mexicans come up there every time the FBI go raid something and they raid Tyson Foods or something. Whole bunch of Mexicans they bringing up out of there. It's not because white folk won't hire black folk. Ain't no black folk looking to. I always like to put this one in there. All you organic fruit loving Israelites, now some of y'all vegan. Y'all don't even eat meat no more. Now you're vegan. You like your Driscoll blueberries, don't you? I know I do. I go to Wegmans and buy them all the time. You love your organic strawberries and blackberries, don't you? I bet you won't find all of them blueberry, raspberry, strawberry, and blackberry farms full of Negroes and white folk out there picking. So what jobs are they coming in taking from black Americans and white Americans? None. You know why? Because we're looking for the easy way out. Hey, do you want to know how to get rich and get real estate and buy houses without your own money? With other people's money? Invest in, excuse me. Oh, excuse me. Invest in crypto. Hey, do this. Hey, do you want your money to make money for you while you're asleep? They always want to show you some Negro on vacation with his feet laid up on some balcony somewhere talking about you could be making money and be living like this. Everything is about being idle and living in leisure. Nobody raising their children. Hard work is no longer got anything to do with you physically being tired. Having calloused hands and sore feet and broke backs. Not broke back mountain. I just said broke backs. Everything is about. I'm trying to teach my kids how to code. I want to teach my kids how to code. And everything is about not having to work hard. The Most High said that was one of Sodom's sins. And why? Not because you may necessarily, you not working hard. I can't leave it out. I said, I love them first. I buy Driscoll. I'm in a store and I spent $20 on some damn blueberries, blackberries, and strawberries. I only got 3 containers. That cost me $20. So I like Driscoll too. But why is idleness an issue? Because in order for a certain class of people to be idle, they have to oppress another class of people to do all the work. On plantations in the South, the planter class Southern Democrats were idle with their hands, while Negroes, and in some cases, indentured white servants, worked them fields, pick that cotton, pick that tobacco, pick that corn, and all that. So idleness was in her daughters, and look at this. Neither did she what, bro?
Neither did she strengthen the hand of the poor and needy.
The poor and the needy can use some of that fullness of bread. How come the poor and the needy ain't got every single thing they need? And there is fullness of bread. You know why? Because for them people to be idle, they have to oppress the poor and the needy and make them that working class who they going to pay the smallest of wages to while they're full of bread. Continue, good brother.
and they were haughty and committed abomination before me. Therefore I took them away as I saw good.
And they were haughty and committed abomination. So maybe you could find the gay stuff in there. But the Most High didn't say he got rid of Sodom and Gomorrah simply because homosexuals was in the land. That was just one sin among many. The things he named are the same things that Israel fell to and even did it on a worse scale because they were supposed to be the people of the covenant. So in the Most High side, it was worse. That's why he said you did worse than them. Because you were the covenant people. I never gave Sodom and Gomorrah my laws. I never sent them a Moses figure. I had no covenant with them and promised them a certain future. So they were evil just by nature, and I got rid of them. But you worse than them because I revealed all my thinking on how you should be opposite of them things, and you rejected me. You did way worse than them. Sodom and Gomorrah ain't never betrayed me to my face because I never was in covenant with them, see? That's why he called the nation spiritually Sodom and Egypt. And just to let you know how much the mothers and the fathers loved Egypt, it's not, brethren, black folk got the nerve to say America is oppressive. It hate black people and everything. But I bet you they ain't trying to go no damn where else either at the same time. Now, hey, salute to the brothers and sisters who was like, I'm leaving America, and the 0.2% of them that move and go to other countries. I know guys that move to Ghana and different stuff like that. Hey, salute to them. And they can stay over there because you just go to them places and all they're trying to do is become like America. So you ain't really, you just maybe you went to somewhere that's much slower in its progression of building itself in the image of the beast. But make no bones about it. Wherever you go on this planet, that second beast that came up out of the earth and had two horns like a lamb and spake as a dragon is going to convince all the nations of the earth to make an image in honor of the first beast that had the deadly wound that was healed, that had the 7 heads and 10 horns. And so you could go anywhere you want, wherever you go. Notice, if you claim to believe in the Most High too, well, they're going to also participate in creating an image in honor of the first beast. But to some people, what I say only makes sense if you perceive what that beast is and what that image is the way that I might. If you don't look at it the same way I do, then I just kind of confused a few people. And I didn't mean to. Where is black folk trying to go? Where y'all going? I'm just trying to team up with those who hear where I'm at and see what we might be able to do together, if anything, to secure ourselves, have communities, have neighborhoods where we might be able to live lives among each other that's a little more closer to how we want. But I ain't got no plans to move to no damn Israel. Salute to Ben Ami and them. Y'all going right ahead. African Americans are a great major part of the entertainment, sports, corporate business, and labor force in this country. And is there anywhere on else that African Americans as a whole look at these places as the place to go to be successful? Or is America the only place that the majority of black people, let alone white people and others, you got immigrants who come here from other countries, this place is our land of milk and honey in our sight. And I want to show you something about the mothers and fathers in the young wilderness. Check this out. Go to Exodus 16 now. If this too long for you and you got to leave, I understand. Catch the rest on the replay if you will. And if you just joining us, welcome to the Bible Dojo. We getting it in. It's your brother Hookah for Heretics in the building. Hey, I'm going to ask you guys and girls to share this out. Also, I don't mind asking, if you are blessed by the work we putting in tonight, why don't you consider financially supporting the ministry? Just look at the ticker on the screen and let you know how to do it. You on Clubhouse, just hit the PTR. If you want to donate, the information It's right there in my bio. I don't mind asking. You have not because you ask not. You heard. So, hey, yo, let's go ahead. Exodus 16. Look at what they say here. Verse 2, good brother. This is in the second month, y'all. It's only been a month since they left Egypt. Look at this. Go ahead, brother.
And the whole congregation of the children of Israel murmured against Moses and Aaron in the wilderness. And the children of Israel said unto them, Would to Elohim we had died by the hand of Yah in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the flesh pots, and when we did eat bread to the full. For ye have brought us forth into this wilderness to kill this whole assembly with hunger.
Wait. Hold on. So y'all ain't been gone a damn month. And you done got hungry. And the Most High said in the book of Numbers by Moses, hey, the Most High let y'all get hungry on purpose because he wanted to test who you were. So they got hungry. And they said, is this not the mixed multitude? Don't blame the mixed multitude for stirring up their heart to miss Egypt. The children of Israel said to Moses and Aaron, it would have been better if the Most High would have killed us in Egypt, because at least then we would have died by the food sources that we were used to when we ate bread to the full. How come many people don't explain that in the damn captivity or in the bondage and the sore affliction that the Egyptians put on Israelites? I'll tell you one thing they wasn't worried about: eating. And eating until they were full. How many black folk got the nerve to say, oh, America, the oppressor? You niggas eat whatever y'all want. Don't you? I know I do. So be honest, don't you? You eat what you want. You want to be a vegan, you vegan. You want to be a vegetarian, you vegetarian. You want to be a pescatarian, you pescatarian. You want to be a damn lion, carnivore human being, and you eat nothing but meat, and you hardly seen a vegetable since you was a kid. You do what you want to do, don't you? They said at least when we were there, we could eat until we were full. That's what captivity looked like. That's what the affliction of Egypt looked like. Yeah, we definitely oppress you. We pass laws and stuff to keep you under. Yeah, Moses saw them Hebrews being beat up by that police officer. You see Negroes get shot down by police in the streets, don't you? But go ahead and leave here and go somewhere else and you don't eat. I bet you your heart turned back to America, the place of your captivity, the home of thine oppressor. Unless you totally change your mind and you on a whole nother kind of discipline, you leave this place and go on and starve some damn where. You want to know how I know? Some people will be able to make it and some people won't. When Ben Ami in the 1960s told them brethren in Chicago he had a dream and was visited by Gabriel that they should leave this land and go to the land of their fathers. Y'all know the first place Ben Ami and them left, it was about 300 of them. He convinced about 300 people to leave Chicago with him and fly to Liberia. Y'all know half of them came back. And from Liberia, they went to Benin. And then from Benin, they made their way over to Dimona, Israel. I read the books. Half them people came back. You know why? Because they was getting sick, getting bit by them big mosquitoes over there. Some people caught malaria. They couldn't eat like they were used to. Actually, the vegan diet that Ben Ami and them came out of, some of it was out of necessity. The people in Liberia taught them how to plant soy. And that's why soybean is a big part of the kingdom of Yah's diet till this day. Y'all ever ate at their vegan restaurants? The Everlasting Life restaurants and all that? Some of them down in Atlanta. They got some in the DC area. Some people in the UK might be familiar. What's the mainstay of the dishes that they make in their restaurants? Soy. They become masters of soy because they had to learn how to eat a new food source. And I applaud them for that. I admire them. But I also stand why half of them Negroes who left was like, we going back to the US. That man said they wanted that EBT, that Egyptian benefits transfer. Yo, Blacktastic, you got to stop, bro. That ain't right, son. They wanted that EBT card, that Egyptian benefits card. Hey, my life totally salute. I appreciate that gift right there. The reason I'm going this route is because I want you to know the more we scream captivity, y'all go on some of these platforms and these Israelites, the captivity, 400 years. Don't talk about me and you like we anything like the Jim Crow era. We don't know nothing about it. It's books to us. It's history that we can't identify with fully. You done bought your damn camper, and now you and your family done made a cross-country drive. You go everywhere you want. You in any restaurant you want. Stop at any gas station you want. You walk off. You be all in the South. You walking all in, white folk. You ever get off the expressway on your long road trip and you get off at that gas because you don't know everywhere. And you get off at that joint and you go in and you know it ain't a lot of black folk around here, and you still confidently, hey, where the bathroom at? And you go walk out that bathroom. You go and use that bathroom, don't you? You go and use the same bathroom white folk use. You wash your hand, same sink they wash. If it's a water fountain, you'll wash it there. You gonna buy what you want. Hey, yeah, let me get $60 on pump 3. You go out there, you pump, and you leave without a care in the world. And some of you, or some of us, you got your firearm on your hip too, in case somebody wants smoke, don't you? You out here. I'm telling you that Negroes in the South ain't know nothing like that. So when you read them books and you go watch 12 Years a Slave and you get all, you left it. You don't even, do you realize you left a damn movie theater as a free man mad? You don't went and watch 12 Years a Slave. Chiwetel Ejiofor, one of the greatest black actors of our generation, probably got about 6-7 million to play that part. He's all right. I know your emotions were riled up when you watched 12 Years a Slave, but know that the actor's okay. He's actually a multimillionaire. He all right, at least in his pocket. And you mad leaving a movie theater, then spend $60, $70 in there, on the popcorn, got your little sodas or whatever. Some of y'all, if you like me, you like the little pretzel joints with the nacho cheese dip or something. You done spent $20, $25 a piece on 4 movie tickets. That's $100. Then everybody want their little snack or something. So you done damn near spent $200 in the movie, left mad talking about, I'm mad at what they did to us. I ain't saying you shouldn't be mad. But you freely walking out of a movie theater talking about how mad you are. I'm not faulting you. I'm trying to give you the reality of what you claim captivity is. And I'm saying, yes, it's captivity. And you're going to start to see that our mothers and our fathers under the bondage and affliction of Egypt live very similar to you. And if you don't claim to be an Israelite like myself and many others, that's okay. You still learning what the Bible say. So they said, you took us out of a place and brought us out here to die. Go to Numbers 16. We almost done a little bit. When I say almost done, I still got about a good 30, 40 minutes in me. So if y'all need to dip, then you go ahead. I understand. But the people need to hear this. Now, this is when these brothers came and spoke against Moses, right? And look at what they threw in his face. Chapter 16 of Numbers, verse 12. Look at what these other Levites said to Moses. Go ahead, brother.
We're starting at 14.
Verse 12.
Okay, gotcha. And Moses sent to call Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, which said, We will not come up. Is it a small thing that thou hast brought us up out of a land that floweth with milk and honey to kill us?
Hold on. They said to Moses, now all of these men lived in Egypt before. What did they tell Moses? They said, yo, do you think it's a small thing that you had us leave a land of milk and honey? See, many times we think Moses said the Most High bringing y'all to a land full of milk and honey, which is true. But they also understood we were in a land, in a land of milk and honey. And they said, you think it's a small thing that you brought us up out of a land flowing with milk and honey? That's a euphemism, meaning a place with resources we can live. To do what, brother? What did they say? To kill us?
To kill us in the wilderness. Except thou make thyself altogether a prince over us.
Continue.
Moreover, thou hast not brought us into a land that floweth with milk and honey, or given us an inheritance of fields and vineyards. Wilt thou put out the eyes of these men? We will not come up.
Wait, hold on. Moses, you ain't kept your promise. We've been out here too long. We left a land that flow with milk and honey, and all we see is you out here in the wilderness making yourself our ruler. And to add to that, you have not brought us to this other land that you claim flow with milk and honey. I had to let y'all see this so y'all understand that that's a saying. The land of Canaan alone was not the land of milk and honey. That was just a title that means this land I'm taking you to, it got everything you need to live. And they said, we had everything we needed to live in Egypt. Do y'all see that? So it's showing you that no matter how bad Negroes be claiming the captivity is, they still love it to some degree because they don't always know another alternative. So when you're in fear and you're in doubt, your heart will turn back to the thing you knew. Even though you had troubles there, you still find the things that to you were positives. Let's go to another reality of this, good brother. Let's go to what Joshua said. We could miss this. Joshua 24:14. Joshua 24. And yes, go ahead, brother.
Now therefore fear.
I'm sorry. Back up to verse 13.
And I have given you a land for which ye did not labor, and cities which ye built not, and ye dwell in them. Of the vineyards and the olive yards which ye planted not, do you eat.
Continue.
Now therefore fear Yah, and serve him in sincerity and in truth, and put away the gods which your fathers served on the other side of the flood and in Egypt, and serve ye Yah.
How many of you understand the children of Israel fell to Egyptian culture? They served other gods in Egypt. Moses knew the condition of his people. This is why he said, look, he said, well, remember, the Most High introduced himself to Moses. We don't have no proof that Moses had a relationship with the Most High. This man ain't been back to Egypt in 40 years. He on the backside of Horeb with his father-in-law cattle. And all of a sudden, it says he saw this bush looking like it was on fire, but it wasn't burning. And it amazed him. And when he paid attention, that's when the voice spoke to him. And when it spoke to him, it ain't like he was used to this. He was like, yo, who are you? Yo, take your shoes off. And from there, the Most High introduced himself to Moses and said, I'm the God of your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and I'm sending you to Egypt. Moses did not want to go. And after all the Most High showed him, don't worry, I'm with you. I'm going to show you some things. You're going to be all right. You're going to be that boy. I'm going to make you stronger than Pharaoh. Watch. Okay, Most High. So when I go to the people and tell them, yo, the God of our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, has sent me to come to tell you that we're leaving, and they ask me, who is this God? What's his name? They did not serve Yah as a people in the Egyptian bondage. They gotten away from that. Their fathers came in with a belief. But wait, hold on. Did somebody say we can't hear you on Clubhouse? Wait, hold on. Who is that? Javaris Robinson. Hey, salute. We can't hear you on Clubhouse. Hey, to the Clubhouse family, can you guys and girls hear me? Forgive me for not looking over here. You all can't hear me? If y'all can hear me, let me know. Because if y'all can hear me, then it just might be bro's device and it may not be mine because it's showing. Oh, hey, Javaris, people over there saying they can't hear me, bro. So I'm not sure what it is. But hey, you over here on YouTube, so stick around. Hey, salute, and I appreciate you being here, family. So, and thank you for addressing that, Ema Kathy. So, brethren, look at this. Our mothers and fathers served other gods in Egypt. They lived by Egyptian culture. Many of them probably were way more Egyptian than they would have been anything like Jacob and them when they first came in, just as cattle people, and they had got caught up in a whole other culture. Look at something. Go to Ezekiel 20. Usually when brethren go to this text, they go here because this is the text where the Most High says, when he put you in captivity, he was going to give you statutes and commandments that you wouldn't be able to live by. But it's something else that he said here. And brethren, we need to pay attention. Now, remember, Ezekiel is a part of the first wave of the Babylonian captivity. The Babylonians came in 597 the first time, and then in 587 or 86, and then I believe the last time that they took some Israelites away was in 582. So over a 15-year period, the Babylonians did 3 waves of taking Israelites into captivity, if you study history and understand it. But what's interesting here is that he's talking to Ezekiel. They're in captivity in Babylon, and the Most High going to bring up, now look, I looked out for your fathers and then when they were in Egypt the first time, because see, we'll read and understand why the Israelites were in this Babylonian captivity. But in the Most High coming to Ezekiel, he's going to reveal something about Egypt to him. Okay, chapter 20, verse 2, Ak.
Then came the word of Yah unto me, saying, Son of man, speak unto the elders of Israel, and say unto them, Thus say Yah Elohim, Are ye come to inquire of me? As I live, saith Yah Elohim, I will not be inquired of by you. Wilt thou judge them, son of man? Wilt thou judge them? Cause them to know the abominations of their fathers.
Hold on. The elders in the captivity, they come into the prophet because they want to converse with Yah. He said, yo, they came to you asking you to come holler at me. I don't want to talk to them. I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna let you know why I'm not feeling them. It's their fault that you all are here. They caused me to do this. Let me know. Let you know what they fathers did. Wait, hold on. Look at what the Most High about to say here. Go ahead, verse 5.
And say unto them, Thus say Yah Elohim, in the day when I chose Israel, and lifted up mine hand unto the seed of the house of Jacob, and made myself known unto them in the land of Egypt, when I lifted up my hand unto them, saying, I am Yah your Elohim. In the day that I lifted up mine hand unto them, to bring them forth of the land of Egypt, into a land that I had espied for them, flowing with milk and honey, which is the glory of all lands. Then said I unto them, Cast ye away every man the abominations of his eyes, and defile not yourselves with the idols of Egypt. I am Yah your Elohim. But they rebelled against me, and would not hearken unto me. They did not every man cast away the abomination of their eyes, neither did they forsake idols of Egypt, Then I said, I will pour out my fury upon them to accomplish my anger against them in the midst of the land of Egypt. But I wrought for my name's sake, that it should not be polluted before the heathen among whom they were, in whose sight I made myself known unto them in bringing them forth out of the land of Egypt. Wherefore I caused them to go forth out of the land of Egypt and brought them into the wilderness.
Hold on. Thank you, Ak. Do you all realize what Yah is saying? He ain't forgot nothing. He gonna let everything out the bag. Look, let me tell you about your fathers. I came to them in Egypt to keep my promise to Abraham. And see, we don't read this part in the scriptures. When I came unto them, I said, cast you away every man the abomination of his eyes. Any of y'all go read that in Exodus chapter 1, Exodus 2, Exodus 3, Exodus 4, Exodus 5, Exodus 6? Leading up to Moses coming back talking to Pharaoh? No. So Yah is letting this be known. I told them to leave all of this stuff they done picked up in Egypt alone. But they wouldn't listen to me, and they wouldn't get rid of those abominations, and they couldn't forsake the idols of Egypt. So when we see what happens with the golden calf, y'all, that's just proof of what the Most High is saying. But look at this. He said, then I said, I will pour out my fury on them and accomplish my anger against them in the middle of the land of Egypt. Y'all, the people would not forsake their Egyptian culture, and the Most High at first thought in his mind, I'll destroy them right here while they're still in Egypt. Did y'all know that? But because of my name's sake, that it shouldn't be polluted among the Egyptians where they were, in whose sight, because I introduced myself as I was doing these plagues, but the Israelites wasn't really repenting for their own evil, while I am what? Punishing all of Kemet. But for my own name's sake, I brought them forth out of the land of Egypt and caused them to go into the wilderness. Yo, the Most High just let it be known he would have whooped the children of Israel while they were still in Egypt, but only because he also had something he was doing in the sight of the heathen who he was judging. He didn't punish our fathers while they were still in Egypt. He said, basically, I took them out into the wilderness in order to deal with them. And there I gave them laws and statutes and judgments and made a covenant with them. And they broke it. And so now I put them in captivity. And now you're going to have laws and stuff that you won't be able to live by. I gave you something to live by before. But since y'all don't want to do it, I'm going to go ahead and let y'all be given to these cultures here. Just like your fathers in Egypt. Isn't that amazing? So now you all see why their hearts would always go back to Egypt. Because they were just like us. Many of them were wealthy. And let's go to our source right here for the night. I would get into Babylon, but if I bring up Babylon, y'all will be here till 1 a.m. I'm not doing that. So we're going to finish up in Egypt. And y'all know what I'll do? Excuse me. Y'all willing, I'll probably do a part 2 to this on Sunday evening or something, or next Friday, because Sunday is supposed to be the open dojo. So y'all willing, by his grace, next Friday, I would want to do part 2 to this. And I want to show you all what the Babylonian captivity looked like for a lot of Israelites. As I say this, I'm not taking away evils that were done or anything. The Most High said, when I put you in captivity, you're going to suffer. But let's talk about what it looks like and not make everything about the American South. Because if any of you right now listening to me think you're an Israelite and you still claim to be in the captivity, some of y'all think the 400 years is just finishing up, so now something else about to happen. Well, just be honest about how you live here and what you after and the freedom you got to do some things. Maybe in some ways you feel like our people are held back, but in other ways you feel like it's opportunities for you at the same time, don't you? You know you do. So let's go to this source, and we're going to end this tonight in Josephus. Yes, we're going to go to The Complete Works of Josephus, Antiquities of the Jews, Book 2, Chapter 9. Let me share the screen. Here we go. Antiquities of the Jews, Chapter 9, concerning the afflictions that befell the Hebrews in Egypt during 400 years. Okay, wait, hold on. Why are these? I'm sorry, side note, I can't help it. Why you got these various ancient Israelite writers claiming the 400-year prophecy of Genesis 15 has something to do with their time and not what these guys are teaching now? I just had to throw that out there. What's that old thing? One to grow on. Okay, Ox, so go ahead and look at this when you ready.
Now it happened that the Egyptians grew delicate and lazy as to painstaking, and gave themselves up to other pleasures, and in particular to the love of gain. They also became very ill affected towards the Hebrews, as touched with envy at their prosperity. For when they saw how the nation of the
Hold on for 1 second, good brother. Do you see how the society things it's always set up? One thing that these people were given to in particular is the love of gain. We read that the Pharisees who had the love of gain. We read that Sodom had the love of gain. And then in the book of Revelation, it said Jerusalem was spiritually the city called Sodom and Egypt. Brethren, the Egyptians gave themselves up to pleasures. And it says they grew lazy as to painstaking, meaning the ethnic Egyptians started to not like to have to work too hard anymore. See, y'all, it always start like that. Yo, just like in the book of Jeremiah, the wealthy class of Israel were keeping other Israelites past the 7 years of bond servitude. And when the Most High gave them a chance, they let all the Hebrews they had kept over the covenant limit go. And it said after a while, they regretted it. And by force, made all of them Hebrews come back. Hebrews oppressing Hebrews. And Jeremiah said, see, when y'all had let them go and gave them liberty, that was a good thing. Yah was pleased with that. And now you have forced your brethren back into basically bond slavery, wage slavery. And because of that, it's over. Nebuchadnezzar is definitely coming to touch this place. Why do y'all think that the kings of Judah and the leaders of Benjamin and Levi, why did they force them Hebrews back into servitude? Because they ain't want to be out in them fields and stuff. You got generations growing up that don't work that hard no more. You got other Israelites who are poor and strangers who are poor under wage slavery, taking care of all the painstaking laborious tasks. Y'all telling me that that's not American? All Americans are working to not have to work hard. Let somebody else work hard, damn it. I'll pay them. Okay. I hope you hear what the Spirit saith unto the church. But go ahead, Ak. It says they also became ill-affected.
as touched with envy at their prosperity. For when they saw how the nation of the Israelites flourished and were become eminent already in plenty of wealth, which they had acquired by their virtue and natural love of labor, they thought their increase was to their own detriment.
I told y'all how one of the ways the Israelites got rich. I hope you heard that breakdown. Go ahead, brother.
And having in length of time forgotten the benefits they had received from Joseph, particularly the crown being now come into another family.
Hold on. Josephus is letting you know, according to the Hebrew mythos he grew up under, what happened was there was a change in a new family taking over Egypt that had nothing to do with Joseph and them. And so now they're just doing a SWOT assessment: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. The Israelites fell under T. They're a threat. They are way too wealthy and too numerous. And at that time, the Israelites were still a little separate. So look at what part of the Egyptian affliction was. This is what the bondage of the Hebrews looked like. Continue, Ak.
They became very abusive to the Israelites and contrived many ways of afflicting them. For they enjoined them to cut a great number of channels for the river and to build walls for their cities and ramparts, that they might restrain the river and hinder its waters from stagnating upon its running over its own banks. They set them also to build pyramids, and by all this wore them out, and forced them to learn all sorts of mechanical arts and to accustom themselves to hard labor.
Hold on. Wait. So the Israelites, when they came in under Joseph, he said, don't do nothing here but be shepherds. Why? Because I'm going to give you Goshen. It's going to be for you, your children, and your children's children. Joseph is talking about this can help us for a few generations. He said, and tell Pharaoh that y'all take care of shepherds. That's all y'all do. I mean, y'all take care of sheep as shepherds. Because shepherds are an abomination to the Egyptians. What does that mean? They're going to stay separate from you. You'll get your money. That's the work y'all do. Egyptians don't. So if Egyptians think shepherds are an abomination, then guess what? It's one job, one industry in Egypt that's necessary. But you won't find really no Egyptians working it. The cattle industry. And that was the Israelites in, and it would keep them separate. But now, once some generations pass and this new regime takes over the kingdom, they start to pass laws and policies to not allow. Remember, y'all, the Israelites didn't take Goshen by war. It was given to them. So the Israelites have to still deal with the government that's in power. And this new government, it says they contrived many ways of afflicting them, for they enjoined them to cut a great number of channels. Y'all know what that means? They passed new laws and policies saying, Israelites, y'all can't just only work in that industry. We need y'all to be helpful to Egypt and work in these. We need labor in these other markets. Y'all, they spread the Israelites out through the workforce. But the Most High used it. See, the Egyptians had a plan. Don't let them sit separate and just do that. Now put them on building projects with other citizens, building dams, learning how to irrigate the Nile, building walls for the cities and defenses. Also, what? They also built pyramids. Now, I want to say something about that one part, because some people will say, you see, we know Josephus bugging. The Israelites did not build the pyramids. Josephus didn't say the Israelites built the pyramids. It just said they had them build pyramids. Y'all do know that Khufu's pyramid and the ones on the plateau of Giza are not the only pyramids in the history of Egypt. They're just the greatest, longest standing ones because they were the biggest ones. Y'all do know that pyramid building, even in small forms, was common all throughout the land of Egypt. So when it says that the Israelites built pyramids, it's not saying they built the pyramids of Giza Plateau or Khufu. They weren't even in the land during the time of Khufu as the family of Israel. Y'all see how, if you're not careful, people will take these little statements and try to run away with it. But I just wanted y'all to know in case anyone ever points that out to you. But at any rate, look at this. By spreading the Israelites out in the workforce and no longer allowing them just to be a shepherd people with a strangle on the cattle industry, by that, they started to take away the unity of the people, because the people were unified as one with one occupation. Now y'all gonna do all kinds of jobs by government decree. And the Israelites probably didn't understand at first. This was part of a plan to break up their unity and their concentrated wealth. And many Israelites, in order to do these projects, yo, do y'all understand how long do y'all think it take to build a dam? Even with modern technology, y'all know how long it take to build a dam? So in their time, yo, no, you can't just live in Goshen because this project is 500 miles away. A lot of y'all gonna have to relocate, and y'all might be at that project for 5 to 10 years. And this was considered oppression because of the plan it was toward the Israelites. Continue to read, brother, and 400 years.
And 400 years they did spend under these afflictions, for they strove one against the other, which should get the mastery, the Egyptians desiring to destroy the Israelites by these labors, and the Israelites desiring to hold out to the end under them.
Hold on. So as this became the norm the Israelites start to compete with each other to see who will be the best at these different industries. And this is the breaking up of their unity and separateness. And now the government can start to attack them and try to do things to them. You understand what I'm saying? So check this out. It's this claim about Amram, Moses' father, and all of that. Go read all of this on your own time. But I wanted to show you that when you think of the hard bondage and labor, it's telling you that they took away the Israelites' separateness in the industry of taking care of nothing but animals. And now the Israelites got to become a part of the Egyptian workforce. And it became hard for them because they no longer could maintain their separateness, and they no longer were able to maintain the culture they inherited from their fathers. And this was on purpose. So what keeps us separate from each other? Just being ultra Americans. We are capitalists at heart with no damn capital. The only capital you got is the few dollars you got in your bank account. But you don't have no true capital besides that. And we all out here separate from each other, working as hard as we can to eke out an existence in this place. And going to church is a formality. Nothing about it is revolutionary in thought in the context of bringing us together in true love. Same way it was for the Israelites. But you know what Yah did at the same time, understanding what was happening? He was about to give a land. What did we read that Joshua said earlier, bro? Didn't Joshua say, you coming into a land and you getting houses you didn't build and vineyards you didn't plant?
And olive yards, yep.
And olive yards. So guess what, people? How are people who only know how to take care of sheep going to be able to repair and take care of these houses they didn't build as these houses start to break down? If all you do is take care of sheep as a shepherd, people, how you know how to maintain and what to do with these fields of vineyards and olive yards? So you see, even though the Egyptians meant evil, and even though the Israelites fell into evil, the Most High still used it to bring forth a family went in with one job. Oh, we just shepherds. That's what us and our fathers before us been. They left out centuries later as a people who would be able to take care of a whole civilization because now they got the skills to do so. You see the hand of the Most High. It says he know how to punish the wicked and to preserve the righteous. Brethren, I'm telling you right now, if we're not careful, some of these things we could miss. But I'm thankful that I got an opportunity to share some of the concept, at least in my thinking. Some of you might hear everything I just did and been like, oh, that might be a super stretch. Well, I would love to hear you teach on it. I would love to hear you teach on it. But this is what I had to give. And I wanted us to see that the children of Israel, the way they lived in Egypt, was similar to how we live in this place. And even though, yes, you see racism toward us, prejudice toward Black folk. And yes, you can see even historically laws that were passed in order to try to keep you under control and to keep you from having too much power. That's still, while that's a part of this, what you would call captivity or being in your enemy's land, still the properties you looking to own, the careers that you're looking to have, the businesses you want to build so you can pass to your children, guess where all that's still happening? Here in the captivity. So y'all willing, the next time we get together on part 2 of this, we're going to look into what, when Jeremiah said, hey, the Most High said, y'all going to be here for a while. So build houses, plant you vineyards, have children so your numbers don't diminish while you in your enemy's land. We want to take a look at what that turned into and what did that look like? What did it look like to be a Jew or an Israelite in the Babylonian captivity? Possibly. I'm going to end right there for the night. I appreciate y'all putting up with me for these last 2 hours. Brother Haven, I appreciate your volunteerism. Good brother. Any words you would like to share? Anything you want to say?
Not really, Elder. You covered a lot, and a lot of it all ties right together. So I took some notes, and I'm definitely going to be diving in. So appreciate you always.
Hey, hallelujah, man. I appreciate you, bro. Get you some rest, man. Blessings to you and your house.
Salute.
No doubt, no doubt. That's my bro Haven. I appreciate him and all my brothers who volunteer, and help me out doing this, because I'll be stressing the heck out of my voice. I've been doing it for years. But the Most High is faithful. These things we need to know, because the captivity for Israelites, for those who would claim to be Israelites and you believe you're in captivity, the captivity we weren't put here so that we could be destroyed. We were put here so once we realize what we're living in, we would start to not desire this culture anymore. But not just because we're here, but because when we read the scripture like we did tonight, we would see, we started to make our land look like this place. I don't really like our vulnerability and our lack of true power as a people and a nation in this place. So now you desire to be a people who are sovereign, who can live by the ways of the Most High under the way that he desires for you to. The captivity was meant to open our eyes. But some of us get wealthy here. Some of us be well-to-do. It's a reason why millions and hundreds of thousands didn't leave Babylon when Cyrus said, hey, man, whoever y'all want to go, y'all God told me to let y'all go back and build. We'll pay for it. It was a whole bunch of cats who was like, oh, yeah? Well, yeah, we're gonna donate to the cause. But they wasn't leaving Babylon. How about that? Whole bunch of Israelites wasn't leaving no Babylon. You had Hebrews who was born. Look, man, you 40 years old. You ain't never seen no Jerusalem in the land of your fathers. You heard about it growing up. But all you known is successful business, highly educated cat. Maybe you live good. Of course, you had Israelites who gonna be poor in the captivity. Shit, it was poor Israelites in the land. But just like right now, if something popped off where it was like black people was being told, hey, the Most High want all black people to leave America. I'm telling you, all black folk ain't leaving no America, and they don't fear this God. But for those who do, you need to understand the truth so we can know what to pray for. And what I believe we should be praying for is for our togetherness while we're here. Just like Jeremiah told them, we got the right to own homes and property and to have business and all that. But what we gonna do with it? What do we want to do with it? But besides our personal benefit, what are we hoping that it would do? He said, I take back everything I said about you at the juke joint. Harpo said you could come through next time Suge is in town. Yo, Blacktastic, you are crazy, bro. Love you, homie. But brethren, yeah, I really believe that we should start to reconsider. Now, I'm talking specifically about the Israelites and for black people who would claim to be Israelites and claiming you in captivity now. I just want you to understand how similar this is to what was going on in Egypt. And hopefully I'll get the chance to share with you how similar it is to what was happening in Babylon. But don't get it twisted. The majority of white folk are oppressed too. I know we like to hear that just because some person is white, they got white privilege. Well, I guess maybe you're saying that because they might be from a particular Caucasian group, that there's just some things that some of them may not even think about experiencing, like black folk might. That might be true, but that don't mean, I'm telling you, I travel the United States preaching the gospel. When I'm in Huntington, West Virginia, in places like that are predominantly white, I'm just looking at a whole bunch of poor white folk. Way poorer than me. I'm shining, not them. I'm financially well-to-do off, not them. I done prayed with and then had conversations with a lot of poor whites getting off of drug addiction, alcoholism. Cats got broken family, been in and out of prison. Some of them coming out of juvenile detention center. Some of these young white sisters been molested since they was little girls. Sound similar, black folk? So at the end of the day, as God looks at oppression everywhere on the planet, he not feeling it. But if we ever going to be a beacon to anybody claiming we Israel, then we better get our act together, because other oppressed peoples in other parts of the world who are looking for hope, when you bring them to the scripture and you show that the scripture can really change things, they got to see it possible. And maybe if there's really a change in us, a people who right now are looked at as the tail of nations, maybe that might encourage some other oppressed peoples, no matter their ethnicity, that if they turn unto this Elohim, that there might be some hope for them to start to see something different as well. That's all I got for y'all, man. Good night to y'all. I appreciate y'all coming on up in here. Shalom, shalom. Yeah.